Ric Flair's AEW return was scrapped. A major international star has teased a WWE opportunity, and WWE are making changes to the Raw and SmackDown announcers. Stay tuned, it's time for the news. AEW presented Dynamite this week in North Carolina. They are still there for Collision this coming weekend, and according to PW Insider, at one point Ric Flair was scheduled for the taping. However, he is no longer expected to appear. They were told the role was a cameo.
Yeah, we've not seen Ric Flair in AEW for some time. I'm not surprised that they would maybe have wanted him originally for that region. He's a big name in that region, but also at the same time, what would he realistically have done? I personally don't need to see Ric Flair on AEW TV anymore. I think we've seen everything that he can do, but I guess a cameo, as long as it wasn't too intrusive in the rest of the programming,
yeah, I think it's fine. As you say, it's North Carolina. They're in Charlotte, and I think that's like for Ric Flair to pop up. It's the place that you want to do it. Yeah. I think the local fans would have absolutely loved it. It's got to be said that on the 5-Star podcast this week, Ric Flair did mention that he's got one more in him. So he was asked if he had one more match, and he said, "Hell yeah, I do," which isn't something I really want to see. Tom and I watched the tag match, Ric Flair's last match.
Ric Flair's last match, quote
Ric Flair's last match. He came out afterwards, and he was like, "Well, yeah, I passed out twice during the match." You know what? He didn't half-arse it, so
no, he went
fair
for it.
play to him, because he could have just come in and played the hits and that was it, but he actually did a little bit more than that. Do I want to see him wrestle again? No. Do
Not
you?
particularly. It gave us, though, that photo of him really looking quite tired on the side of the ropes, and that's going to be used forever on Twitter. Like, it's a great photo, but I really don't want to see him back in the ring. He clearly does. He can't seem to give it up. He retired in 2008. Like, it's quite a long time after. Maybe he's looked at Sting's run and gone, maybe I could have a match like that against the Young Bucks and Darby Allin and go through things.
It's a difficult thing to get out of, isn't it? And obviously the financial issues that Ric Flair has had over the last 1,000 years has meant that he wants to keep doing it. But I think a big part of it still is his love to perform.
He loves it. Yeah, he loves
really
it.
does. And like, I'm not going to slag him off for that, but it is a little bit scary when you're watching him. And that was a few years ago now, Ric Flair's last match.
It was scary in TNA 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was. I'm not sure it's that pleasant to watch anymore, but best of luck to him, obviously. You get in the Rock and Roll Express, by the way. Instead, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson are going to be filling the role of local legends this weekend. We move over to WWE and a few ex-WWE names who were backstage at World's End. PW Insider giving a bit of an update on Samantha, Irvin and Beth Phoenix, who were backstage.
Yeah, they said there are currently no plans for either to appear for the promotion. In the case of Irvin, she was told she was currently under a no-compete with WWE that does prevent her from appearing on any other combat-related sports programming. Irvin has been at tapings from time to time. Of course, Ricochet now works there. That's our boyfriend, our partner. It's not a surprise that she would go and visit him at work.
No, it's not, is it? I don't think it's surprising that either of them were there. To me, it's surprising that Beth Phoenix hasn't done something with them yet.
The closest we've got with Beth Phoenix is she does the intro to Cope's entrance music, and it's like
you've called him Cope already.
Cope.
I respect that.
I'm gonna go for it. He's the rated R superstar.
I'm not.
Cope.
I'm
just trying to cope with it. But she does the intro to his music there, so like she's kind of there. But is she still with WWE as a legend? No, but.
She's not contracted anymore, is she?
No.
She could do it, and she really, really did. I don't want to say she was out of shape or anything, but she posted something to Instagram fairly recently, and her body transformation, like, she is once again ripped.
Maybe
so
we
she's
will
good
see
to
her
go.
The next year.
I think
we
will. I think we will. In the case of Phoenix, PW Insider say there's been no current discussion about her coming in to the promotion. So time will tell on that one. Sticking with AEW, we got some original plans for AEW's the four-way tag match at Full Gear. Dax Harwood revealing on the WrestleZone podcast that they were supposed to be in that 4-way tag title match at AEW Full Gear.
Instead, of course, we got the Outrunners in that match, and Dax has revealed that it was FTR that kind of pushed for the Outrunners to be involved there. He said, I was telling you there were some people online who like to say that we latch on to stuff. Apparently people say that about FTR, that they latch on to whatever's hot. Well, he says one of the things people said, we latched on to the Outrunners because of their popularity. I would beg anybody to ask the Outrunners what they thought of us and how they felt we helped them. For example, at the last pay-per-view, the 4-way tag title match, FTR was supposed to be in one of those spots. I went to Tony and said, hey man, these guys have worked their ass off. They deserve that spot. Take us out and put them in. And he did. He agreed with me.
You know, it was the right shout for sure to get the Outrunners in there. I'm really enjoying the AEW tag division at the moment, and I think a lot of people were expecting the Outrunners to pick up the tag straps by now, just because of how over they've been. But I think, on the contrary, Tony made the right decision in putting the belts on Private Party, because I think the belts have really elevated Private Party more than the Outrunners would have been elevated, because the Outrunners are still super over without the belts.
Yeah, they're selling merch like ridiculous levels.
For sure, and Private Party, they feel fresh again, don't they?
Yeah.
And they've been with the company for a long, long time, and I think those straps have really elevated those guys in a way that the Outrunners, it would have been cool and everything, and I'm not anti it either.
If Private Party hadn't won the belts from the Bucks, I think it would have been the right call to put it on the Outrunners. But yeah, as you said, Private Parties, they feel like a better team than they were just 5 months ago because of those belts. And it's a weird case of the belts making the team rather than the team making the belts. Yeah. But it's worked in their favor.
For sure. Pro Wrestling Noah star Naomichi Marufuji revealing that he has been in contact with NXT chef Shawn Michaels. Marufuji tweeting, though a certain person I received a message from Shawn Michaels, the contents are, I'm happy. He's had an amazing career already. 4-time GHC champion, 9-time GHC tag team champion in Pro Wrestling Noah, as well as being a major figure behind the scenes with the company. Obviously, relations between Noah and WWE right now, very, very strong indeed. You've got Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles have been out there. Omos. We didn't mention it.
GHC tag champ.
We got a little bit of negative sentiment, let's say, in the comments yesterday, because we didn't talk about Omos. And
it's
you know what?
News.
I'm glad we did. It is the
new year. It's literally the biggest.
He's doing amazing stuff. We didn't work on New Year's Day, so it felt a little bit too late to be talking about it yesterday. But rise up, Homo sapiens, because he's doing amazing stuff. We don't know exactly where this is going to head as far as like the text that Marufuji has received.
Well, we've seen some talent exchange, obviously Omos, as you said there, but we've also got Yoshiki Inamura over in NXT at the moment. He's had one hell of a run, like on the independents and in Noah, and then coming over to the US. It looks like we are getting a lot more of that talent exchange. Certainly, if Omos is winning a tag title, he's a champion with Jack Morris. I
don't understand why WWE didn't do this with Omos.
Yeah,
I think they really, really like flubbed him, to be honest, because like the guy is such a spectacle, he's such an attraction, and he just disappeared from our screens for the longest time. They did, to be fair, they did try, because they did the stuff with AJ Styles, and then he just disappeared for a bit again. And
he had a really good match with Seth Rollins at Backlash. I think it was Backlash, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah,
just
weird.
Just off the screen, and he's really funny in real life. Like on his Instagram, he's got some great content on there. They need to show that on screen.
He's a good lad. He's a good lad. WWE making some changes to the Raw and SmackDown announcers. Things are swapping around a bit, according to PW Insider.
So Lillian Garcia is expected to move to SmackDown, while Alicia Taylor will be shifted to Raw to manage the ring announcing duties there. It still feels personally for me that there has been a big gap after Samantha Irvin has left. They're doing a great job, but I'm hoping that there is sort of like a bit of more with Lillian on SmackDown, she feels right there, and have someone fresh on Raw. And I think that's maybe what they need with Raw going to Netflix.
I totally agree. No disrespect to Lillian Garcia. She's one of the best to ever do it. I love her work. She feels right for SmackDown, and you're totally right, a sort of younger, fresher face on the flagship show where it's going to Netflix. Maybe that's the right shout.
I can see the arguments for Lillian, especially over the past few months, because you're like, if you've tuned in 15 years ago, it's Lillian Garcia. I remember her.
Mm-hmm.
Might get people recognizing that for the nostalgia stuff.
And she's not
but
aged a day.
She's not. It's insane, right?
It really
She's been
is.
doing this for so long.
Yeah, I think it's the right shout, and you know what? I think Lillian Garcia is probably only back in WWE temporarily.
Possibly, yeah.
I don't think she'll be there for the longest time, and so putting her on SmackDown and then changing that up when SmackDown heads to Netflix in the US as well, when that time comes,
Yeah, true.
is probably you want to start with somebody who's going to be there consistently, and I'm not sure Lillian Garcia is going to be there consistently, but really enjoying her work for sure. That is it for our first news video. We'll be back in a little bit with a bit more news for you. Stay safe. Love you, bye. Cultaholic.com, all the other plugs, Patreon and all that. Have a good one. See you in a bit.